his flashlight and he croaks. Which is funny to me because to me he kind of sounds like a cricket.
Oh, that's bright. Hello and welcome back to the Croak and Crow podcast, the #1 podcast in this house. I am Spencer Cartier.
I am Lollapalooza.
Lollapalooza? Not Lollapalooza? Lollapalooza. That'd be a good stripper name.
Lollapalooza.
Like, oh, I'm Lolly.
Lollapalooza's her clothes off.
Nope. This here is Frank. This is a religious podcast. This here is Frank, repping New York, the city he was manufactured in.
We don't know that.
The city he was born in, guys. I'm feeling good today.
I think it's a hat trick.
It's a hat trick. Someone scored 3 points.
We all have hats on.
We all have hats on. I keep my hat on because I cover my temple.
That's right.
It says it right there in the Bible. Wait, no, I think that's hair on the temples. But then cover the back of your head. What does the Bible say?
I don't know. But there's many thoughts on protecting your head during prayer, wearing it in a house of worship. And there is temples, which is this, and you can have your curls.
Yeah, that's why I think I said
I thought
temples.
you meant we are the temple of God.
My body's a temple, and I keep my brain covered. Anyhow, guys, what's up? How have you been?
The eclipse.
What?
The eclipse.
What eclipse?
The lunar eclipse.
That was last night?
I think it's last night or tonight. I don't know. I just see a lot about it.
The lunar eclipse. You know?
I also think it's only for Australian side of the world.
Now, okay, we're a spiritual podcast, so we have to give our opinions on everything. Yeah, that's what you do when you're a spiritual person. What do you feel about the full moon making people a little crazy?
Well, it does.
So do you think it's science, or do you think it's
science?
Okay.
And the reason I know it's science is because I have known many people in the medical field who work in hospitals, and ask any of them what happens on full moons in the emergency room, and you get an influx of disasters.
Okay, so you're sitting here, you're saying check the stats.
Check the scientific stats.
Check the stats. Google me. Okay, yeah, I think there's something. A lot of these things, I think there's something to it. Mm-hmm. As far as astrology signs. Yeah, I'm not big into the new age of are you a Jupiter ascending or something. I think when you get in too deep, you start to lose
There's two things to thought on that. I mean, the one is just to be a Taurus is too vague, and that's why sometimes you'll say I don't feel like a Taurus, and it depends on what hour, where part of the planet you were born on. Yeah, sounds
like someone on the other side of the table believes in that.
Everyone knows I'm an astrology expert.
Yeah, I'm just saying, where I make my end of my argument is there's some truth in it. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is. As a man of God, I believe there's things that are more spiritual to the world than we know. Yeah. So I give it all to spirituality, but I don't pretend to say, I know this is all a fact. I just say, I know there's something more to this world. Anyhow, enough of that chitter chatter.
God created the planets.
And
everything that happens with them.
He sent you down to Earth at a certain time, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. The moon is definitely affecting the tides without the moon.
Yeah, still I'm trying to figure that one out.
Really? Why?
How does that work? I always know. I know the moon affects the tides. Waves are caused by the moon.
Magnets.
Magnets. How do they work? Guys, it's Thursday. No, it's not. It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday. The first podcast of the week. What did we do on Sunday? It was a Christian meme review. Was there anything special about that meme review? Sometimes we have
Sunday. Well, you know what it was? It was Pentecost Sunday.
It was. You know what? I saw some memes about that.
Right, but they didn't make it in.
What is no? I don't even want to say this on camera.
I know. I don't want to say it either.
What is Pentecost Sunday?
I think it's when the Holy Spirit came to see the apostles.
When they were able to speak in tongues?
Yeah, Jesus has now crucified, resurrected, came back to visit, ascended into heaven. Okay. And then they're all sitting around now what are we supposed to do?
Holy Spirit came and said, go speak to everyone. They said, we can't speak the language. And they said,
I bless all of you. So, if I'm wrong, we will go back to the moon magnets story.
So Pentecost Sunday, I wish I had labeled the meme review that, but you live and you learn. There's always next year.
It wasn't meant to be.
It wasn't meant to be. But yeah, it's Wednesday, my dudes.
There's also a religion, I believe, Pentecostals. I've always heard it.
Pentecostals.
Pentecostal Christians. I don't know.
Are they the ones that speak in tongues?
Maybe.
I think that would make sense.
But Catholics speak in tongues too.
Water, fire, air, and dirt.
Should we speak the rest
Charismatic.
How do they work?
do the rest of the podcast speaking in tongues?
I would love to, but I'm guessing it would be frowned upon.
Oh, would it? How do you know we're not speaking in tongues right now, but you're just fully understanding what we're saying?
Ooh, I like that. And then
Have someone else watch this. It'd be a good way to say share the podcast.
You know what? You got something there.
Have someone else watch this. It's the emperor in the pajamas. What is it? Emperor's New Clothes.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you know what I'm saying, it means you're a pretty spiritual guy or girl. And show it to everybody.
Yeah.
And they all know what you're saying. Anywho, it's Wednesday. We're feeling good.
It's Wednesday, so we have presents.
I don't know how those correlate, but I'm here for it. My love language.
I don't know if you can hear all the way down there, but one
So
present.
give me pennies.
I know. One present is I don't know. I just wanted it.
Oh, a croak.
And he doesn't walk.
Let me show the camera.
He doesn't walk. But he does his flashlight and put his noise,
So he's supposed
his
to
noise
walk?
to the microphone. No, he doesn't walk, but he makes a noise.
Wait, why do you say he doesn't walk?
Because I thought he looks like to me like he should walk.
No, look at the bottom. It's all one piece.
So all he does is his flashlight works and his okay.
I didn't break it.
His flashlight and he croaks, which is funny to me because to me he kind of sounds like a cricket.
Oh, that's bright.
Oh my god!
He does sound like a cricket.
Like so, if okay, give
That's
it to
not
me.
gonna work.
Give it to me. I want to make a cricket sound. So like if you say something and like it's really dumb, nobody cares.
Airline food. Yeah, nice.
Sounds like a cricket.
Yeah. Wish we had a producer at a soundboard.
I know.
How did they do that so quick?
One day, I don't know.
They're really good at it. They're really good at it.
I like that.
Yeah, I like it too. You know what? It just might stay. But does Frank like it?
Frank doesn't always wear a hat though.
Yeah, I think I could balance it on his head.
Why wouldn't he like it? He's very tolerant.
He is very tolerant. One day he's just gonna snap.
One day, one word. Is it time for one word Wednesday?
Yeah, it's time. It's time for One Word Wednesday.
Okay. So that comes in the second something.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Okay, close your eyes, and I'm going to put something through here, and you grab them, and you tell me what they are without opening your eyes.
Is it two different things I'm holding?
No, that they're all the same thing.
Okay. Is it a carabiner?
Yay!
I'm a rock climber, guys.
I'm a rock star.
You can't fool me of what a carabiner is or carabiner.
It's carabiner.
Carabiner.
I want to call it a carabiner.
Wow, you have 4 of them.
Carabiner. Because it's spelled Carbiner. You want to say carabiner.
Carabiner.
But it's originally a German word.
Carabiner.
Carabiner Hulken.
Ja.
So
Ich habe ein Carabiner.
Because he was German, the man who invented it, Otto. Otto invented this, and not fully. I think he saw firemen with some kind of oval hook, and then he was a climber, so he was like, "I'll do that." And then a Frenchman, after that, made it the lightweight alloy or whatever that it is now.
Mm-hmm.
These, of course, are
mass produced.
$1. These are not for climbing.
No.
Okay. I guess that's for backpacks. I don't. It's for anything.
Yeah,
really.
a little keychain.
So the carabiner is today's one word.
Nice. I love me a
I'm
carabiner.
sure we can make connections.
But
for carabiners, invisible carabiners in our lives. But why don't you are the rock climber? Why don't you tell us? Oh, and guess what? The guy who invented it, he was the original Rambo, meaning he didn't have the sashes of bullets and everything like Sylvester Stallone, but his nickname was Rambo.
Oh, really?
Yeah. All right.
So Rambo got their name from this person, or is it just coincidence?
I don't know.
Okay. So yeah, so in rock climbing, carabiners are used often. So you have your harness on, and you use the carabiners to attach yourself to the rope and the pulley system, or to the there's all technical names for these, and I don't have any of them. And then you're attached to the rope and to the other person if you're belaying, but also if it's called lead climbing, where you're the first person up the wall.
Okay.
And so you have a rope that's going down, and then up the wall, you are putting in these holds, and then you're each way up, you're carabining yourselves to the rope and yourself to them. So if at any point you fall, you're only falling like 10 feet.
Okay.
So every 10 feet you put one on, and that way
you're to the wall. That's why you're not pulling a person down with you.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
like lead climbing where
Okay.
it's not just two people having a casual day up and down.
Okay.
It's you're climbing a wall with no ropes above you.
Okay.
And so you walk 10 feet and then you connect and then you walk another 10 feet. So then if you fall, the last one you
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I think this will be really great for to make a parallel into.
Sounds like you're onto something.
Do you hear it?
I hear it. I hear connecting myself. I hear safety.
Yeah, and I hear that it's okay to fall. Like I'm guessing it's not optimal. You're not happy when you fall backwards, but you're not falling all the way to the ground if you have some sort of tethers.
Yeah, that's true. I always say sometimes people accuse me of doing too much. They say, Spencer, you're doing too much. You're too great. You're too amazing.
That part too.
They say one of those things. I won't tell you which one. And I always say, I like doing too much. So then when you get if you get used to doing 4 things every day that are beneficial for you, and then you end up fizzling out on 2 of them, you still have 2 things that you fall back on.
I think that's true and good.
And, but that's more like, not the same as what we're talking about here, which is the important, like it's what in life going through, if climbing the mountain is life,
right?
Where are the safety points that you're
right?
I won't fall lower than this. I won't fall lower than this. Right.
And 2 steps forward and 1 step back. That's not the tune. Paul Abdul had some kind of song like that. Isn't 2 steps forward and 1 step back means you made 1 step forward, yeah. Right? Okay. So this is reminding me of that. So if, I'm climbing up and I'm hooking and I'm going and I'm good. Sometimes I fall down, but I did. Yeah. I'm not off track, even though there's a little bit of delay.
There's a little bit of delay. Yeah. So, yeah. Do you have anything to add while I brainstorm on this?
Well, when I looked up the definition of
Bible Gateway, did it have any carabiners in it?
They didn't have carabiners, but let me tell you, when I looked up the definition of a carabiner, it comes up as you'll see it here, but as shackle was one of the words in there, and shackles is in the Bible,
but in a way of like being arrested.
Shackles is a lock on you.
Yeah,
and this is shackle-ish.
Okay.
Shackleford, that was an actor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What do you mean that they arrested you? Shackles on my feet.
That's like it's not a good thing.
It's when you're.
We're talking about. I thought we were talking about carabiners in a good way.
We are, but
shackles are a bad thing.
You said, "Can you talk about something while I'm thinking?"
Got it. Well, now I've just been thinking about proving you wrong.
I'm sorry. No, I was just saying. Carabiner is not in the Bible. Shackles are in the Bible. Carabiners are a type of lock, but like you are pointing out right now, we are not looking at it as a padlock. We had a padlock. We had a podcast, and it's making me think of it, where we were talking about this could be bad or good. What was that? Oh, shit.
Yeah, it was recent. We were talking about ties.
Ties.
And tying yourself down for safety, but also tying cement blocks around your feet.
All right. So that would be the same kind of thought for these carabiners?
No, I don't think there's anything bad about a carabiner.
Oh, no, sorry, not a carabiner, a shackle.
Shackle.
So let's just throw shackles away.
Shackles
Thankfully, I didn't waste any trees today and print anything out.
Yeah, because I would have thrown those papers right out. Okay. So I'm thinking a ton of stuff. I want to just keep the analogy of what I don't even really want to talk about, like belay climbing, where you carabine yourself to the rope and help the other person. I want to talk about lead climbing today, where you're going up and you are at every time you get far, you connect yourself to a part, and then that is the level you'll fall from. Okay. And so you'll never hit the ground again. Okay. Because the alternative is to just climb up without anything, and then when you fall, you perish.
Okay.
And so
some people survive.
What?
Some people survive.
Some people survive, yeah. So yeah, it's just bringing up so many different small things. Like it's making me think when we talk about traumatic events, like putting on your armor of God,
right?
And so
getting prepared,
when a traumatic event that unfortunately does happen in people's lives,
right?
You lose faith and stuff, and it's like that is when you need a secure hold so that you don't hit the ground. You will fall, right? Don't get me wrong, and it's never fun to fall from 10 feet in a harness,
right?
It's gonna suck, but at least you're not, on the ground. So, faith, right? Yeah.
Faith is.
I don't think that'd be the first one. Okay. What would the I want like 3, right?
Okay.
Top of the mountain. You're climbing. What's your the easiest thing? The first thing you're able to hook yourself to, and then the next thing higher up, and then the last thing. Because sometimes, if one of the holds aren't strong enough, as you're falling, it'll break out, and then you'll fall to the next one.
Okay.
So I'm talking.
Oh, you leave carabiners the whole way?
Yeah.
I thought you were doing the same guy the whole time.
No.
Oh, that's even more safe.
Yeah. And that's why. Have you ever seen like a climber and they literally just have a million of them?
So is that all the trash they talk about on the mountains?
I'm sure, but not. I don't think that's like that's like oxygen tanks and
talking
stuff.
Big mountains
and like water bottles.
Yeah.
So
what are these in our spiritual talk? You're hooking what on to the mountain? You are the climber, and the mountain is your spirituality, and then this is what are the locks?
Faith.
So faith is locking you in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you know what? I like that.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna say the first thing you want to lock yourself in before you lock is faith in yourself, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to talk about dark subjects here, but when somebody, loses a battle to depression and stuff, I think it's when that final Carabiner gives out.
Carabiner.
Yeah.
No, that's
gives it. So you're at the bottom. You're born, and then the first thing you're latched onto is you want to love yourself. You want to have faith in yourself.
Absolutely.
And if ultimately you lose that one, you
know what? I won't stay on it long, but I do have to say that's very, very important because I just have to know, I have to share, even in my own experience, when you want to explore your spirituality or you want to grow it, you want to share it, like we're sharing. The first thing that you start to doubt or feel insecure about is your own faith in your own self.
Yeah.
Should I be doing this? Am I right?
Yeah.
Am I odd? Is this just not so perfect? I think you're correct.
Yeah. I think I have it figured out, guys.
Okay.
I think it didn't take me long.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So the first one, so you're climbing up the mountain, you're born, so you're not latched to anything. As soon as you start getting personal awareness, first, okay, we're 10 feet up now. I don't know, 8 years old, and I can finally have a conscience. Faith in myself. Mm-hmm. Now the next one, you're 10 feet up. Now you're growing. Now it's, I want to say faith or love. Maybe it's not faith. Maybe it's love.
Okay.
And so the next one is...
Yeah, it's easier to love than have faith. Mm-hmm.
Is to love your neighbor. Love other people, right?
Okay.
And this is higher than the first one, but it's important because once you leave yourself at the bottom carabiner, you see a lot of people and they put everybody above themselves almost to a fault.
Right.
And let's talk about depression again. You might only be here for other people, and sometimes you see some of the brightest people are the ones that are
inwardly struggling.
Yeah, and they love everyone else. And that's if the first one, like I said, if you're not putting the holds in hard enough. So then the problem with that is if you lose your foothold and you're now 10 feet up because you give everything to other people, and It's like you didn't worry about the first carabiner, which is like the most important. That's what's stopping you from actually hitting the ground. Now you're falling from 20 feet, and that's a hard fall.
Right. And also, just real quick, as a climber, if you are climbing with other people or whatever, it's so important to take care of yourself because you won't mess the other people up.
Yeah. So first one is yourself. Second one is love for the others.
Yes.
And then now you're getting high. You could try to get to the top of the mountain from there, you know, because if we're just doing 3, it'll be thirds. But that's a lot of climbing on your own to get to the top.
Right.
And so you get to a point where you don't want to fall from there because how strong is the first 2 loves if you're then falling from 20 feet up?
Right.
So I would say, and it is the last one, is a love of faith, a higher power.
Yes.
Something that is that final thing.
That convinces you.
That or provides you security.
Right.
And I truly, like, my biggest thing is, you know, I talk about hypocrites and all that, but one of the reasons why I notice hypocrites so much is when people don't have a love for their neighbor. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times that comes from not a love of yourself. Is like
true.
A low self-esteem and stuff.
Yeah.
And then so they're saying they're spiritual. I'm like, you don't even have your first 2 carabiners attached.
Good.
And so that last one you secured, boom, boom. Third one, and then guess what? You're at the top of the mountain.
You're at the top of the mountain.
But you want to make sure all of those are secure in that order.
Right.
You know, like to truly love other people, you have to love yourself.
Right.
And then to truly love God, you have to love the neighbor. Because God says, love your neighbor as you love, or love me as you know what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
I am your neighbor, so love your neighbor accordingly.
Right. And these, you could also just look at these of so many ways to always be attaching. Like, so you're saying 3 when you're looking at the big picture of climbing up the mountain, but I'm saying like every single day,
yes,
going through, you know, just always hooking,
yes,
always making these strong connections to make you feel secure. Also, I'm wondering if you could share with somebody to help them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could even then switch the analogy. Like I said, that was a free climb. Mm-hmm. We can talk about the belaying. And so belaying is you both start off standing next to each other. There's a rope that you carabiner to yourself. It goes up to them where it's then tied to them. Okay. And you are watching them go up. And then if they fall, you are able to catch. You're able to break because of that connection. Right. And I would maybe just carabiners equal love. End of the day. And
you know, there's sometimes this thought of that if I act alone, I'm selfish, and if I act for others, I'm completely selfless. Yeah. But I think that's a good analogy of this is a mutual. You're helping each other. Yeah. Because I'm helping you, you're helping me, and because you're helping me, I'm helping you.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and in like the free climbing and stuff, like I said, one of the things is that person, like they call them the lead climber because they go and they make those carabiner connections. But what they just did is they brought a rope to the top of the mountain, and then they can latch it to something and help others get to the top. Right. You can't, when there's no holds and you need that lead climber, and you want to be that lead climber for people if you're a strength. And then when you're up there, congratulations, you have all this connections. You've gone through it. You feel like your line's secure. And so now you can help others who aren't as strong of lead climbers on their own to then get to the top.
And it's bringing me back to your story a few times about Jesus as your Sherpa.
Jesus as your Sherpa
to climb Mount Everest. Yeah. And because you said, you know, because if you fall, you're gonna perish if you fall off this mountain. And I said, well, some people wouldn't, and I'm sure there's odd situations where people have fallen, and they always people fall off buildings, and sometimes they're okay. So you're not saying that you would definitely die, and also maybe you could climb without hooking, but like if we could say like reading the Bible and praying and doing good works, are we more likely to feel secure on that climb? Yeah.
Well, and then that's sort of why I put them in the order that I put them in, is because it doesn't matter what your faith is or lack thereof. If you love yourself and you love your neighbor fully, you are 2/3 the way up the mountain. Right. And it is safer and easier. And I will not tell somebody that they can't get to the top of the mountain to, if you want to call it heaven or whatever, for not latching that faith, because I think in a way, and in a spiritual way, doing those first two is what is like, loving the Lord and stuff, is because that's what he asked of us.
Right.
And so for me, that's why, even though I say this, I say I'm a strong Christian, because that is what I believe, and that is where I feel safest, I feel secure, and I trust in the fact that carabiner is the one that's going to get me to the top.
Right.
Well, the closest one that's going to get me to the top after I've done the first two. But some people, and that's who I get mad at more than anybody, is the people who they're saying the only one he needs to latch onto is the third one, and anyone who doesn't do that isn't getting to the top. Right. And it's like, well, you're missing you didn't even latch your first two. Right. Like, and you're telling me that. Right.
And also, there's sometimes a misconception when you hear about holy people or very, studied people who have studied in spirituality or anything, pastors and priests and popes and all the things, that they are just naturally that way. Like, if you see an athlete and you're like, oh, they're just good. And it's like, no, they practice really, really, really hard. Yeah. To know that they use a lot of carabiners to secure themselves and to keep going up, and they come down and they go up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
It's not just magically.
And like you said, we use just 3 very general things, but the whole way up, it's a long life, and there's a lot of carabiners needed. And it's, if you want to say discipline or doing small things like charitable deeds, boom, 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 all this stuff latching you through the mountain of life. Yes. So that you always have something to fall back on. Right. That's why, and that is why I talk about this, like when people say, oh, it's not about the good works you do, and it's not about that, it's about this. It's like, you're saying that, but you're using one carabiner, and God gave us a whole work belt full of carabiners. Yeah. And you're saying, no, that's the only one I need. And I'm saying that one's very important. Right. And I agree with you. This is my favorite carabiner. I'm going to latch myself with all of these, and I'm not going to tell somebody to not do that.
I'm glad you said that, and I'm glad you brought up depression, because there is a running similarity in depression for a lot of people, which is feeling detached and feeling floating and feeling, and they always say, like, try to, even when you're having anxiety, ground yourself. Yeah. Try to feel rooted into the ground. This is a different type of image or mental thought, but I like it, and you're okay. You're okay. Because this is very, very strong. This holds, and they have all different strengths of these things. Like I said, this one is sort of, ornamental. But you can carabiner yourself there, even if you hang there. Right? You're hanging there for a few.
I saw this thing where people were literally climbing this huge mountain, probably in Yellowstone or something, and they slept on you can't climb the whole thing.
By hanging?
Yeah, so they had all these ropes and stuff, and so they tied ropes to this little
I think I know about this. Yeah, not about that story, but
a little platform.
They have to.
And because it's like a 2-day climb.
But if you trust in your carabiners,
they trusted in their carabiners,
and you're okay. And what are you going to do? This is holding you, even though if you feel a little bit precarious, what are you going to unhook it and unloop yourself? Yeah. It's unnecessary. You can stay hooked.
Stay hooked.
Stay hooked. I want to do this, but every time I try to do it, it's not working. It won't even show up. Okay.
But yeah, that's carabiners. I like them. I recommend.
Carabine Queen, the same dream. I think that person is Trinidadian.
I recommend everyone gets themselves some carabiners.
These are from Ace Hardware, and they were less than $2.
Both physically and spiritually. And hey, let us know down in the comments what you think, what you want to latch yourself to. Yeah. Because there's no right answer. You can latch yourself to some bad things, but I don't know. I think that's a analogy for another day.
Yeah. There's always good and bad. We always say that. Yeah.
And I think that's more of just the route you take. Right. It's like you want to get up to the mountain the fastest. If you go this way, it's fine, but it is just two steps forward, one step back. That's the name of the game. Tomorrow is fun tomorrow. I don't know what day it is.
It's walk through.
Tomorrow is a walk through Thursday, guys. It's going to be good. You know what we do? We look at a Bible verse, break it down, sentence by sentence, line by line, word by word, idea by
and
idea.
The hint for tomorrow's walkthrough Thursday is Philadelphia.
Oh, ever heard of it?
City of brotherly love.
That's all you get, guys. Peace.